And a good day to you. Ashley Nagoka has the day off. I'm Jonathan Masaki. Hope you're having a great day. Now, first at noon, opening ceremonies for the Eddy are happening right now. Guy Hagi has been on the North Shore all morning. He gives us a look at the conditions as the waiting period for the competition begins and what to expect if you plan to come.
Happy Aloha Friday. We're at Waimea Bay for the opening ceremonies for the Eddy Aikau Big Wave Challenge. And one of the guys who's been an invitee for years and he's known worldwide as one of the best big wave riders is from Maui, Ian Welsh. How's it, Ian? You must be excited this time of year, especially when you come to Waimea Bay.
Absolutely. I think as we move into December, every year this opening ceremony for the Eddy Aikau event kicks off. It kind of gets the feelings and the energy moving into winter, so it really starts to heighten everything. And you feel it in the air today. You see all the men and women down here. There's a swell in the water, beautiful winds, and it's a classic North Shore day.
Now, you've surfed around the world in the most famous big wave spots. How does Waimea stack up? Because it was the big wave spot back in the day, but now, where does it stack up?
I mean, it still stacks up with the best of the best. I think Waimea Bay is a really special place in the overall history of surfing, and I think it has really set the tone and laid the groundwork for where we are in big wave surfing today, and it continues to be one of the benchmark locations on the planet, and I think it'll be that forever. I think there's so much history, so much legacy here, and there's been so much of the sport pioneered in this special bay that I think the power of this wave will always be really, really special to all of us.
And you've surfed contests since you were a kid. This one has a very much deeper meaning than any other contest I'm sure you've surfed.
Yeah, this contest in particular has a much different meaning. It's a very deep meaning, and I think the overarching aspect to it is what Eddy Aikau represented and what he has kind of led. He's kind of set in place this tone and this expectation of like coming with aloha, coming with respect. And I think this is one of the few events around the world that it feels like more of a gathering of the tribe more than a contest itself. And obviously when the bay calls a day, everyone wants to push themselves and ride incredible waves, but I think it's more about what it means to the surfing community as a whole and bringing everyone together, both the men and the women, joining in the water and having a really big day of surf.
All right, Ian Welsh from Maui, one of the invitees. Good luck, Ian. Hopefully the bay calls the day this season.
I hope so, Guy.
All right, thanks. Yeah, Waimea Bay still happening. Lots of people here to honor Eddy Aikau. We'll see you guys later.
Looks like a great event out there, Guy. Thank you very much. Now to other news. The emotional sentencing of a young man who shot and killed a teen in Makaha Beach 2 years ago. This took place yesterday. As Annalisa Burgos reports, it brought some closure to the tragedy that's devastated two families.
Branson Medeiros was 16 when he shot 17-year-old Miguel Agu Jr. at Makaha Beach in 2023 during an argument. At the time, Medeiros pled not guilty to second-degree murder and 2 firearms offenses. In a deal earlier this year, he pled guilty to a lesser manslaughter charge and asked to be sentenced as a youthful offender with a shorter prison sentence of 8 years versus 20 years.
I'm sorry for all the pain I caused you guys and your family. I do regret what happened. I was put in a situation that I couldn't control. It was either me or him.
An emotional Medeiros apologized to Agu's family before his sentencing this morning.
Now the day goes by that I don't regret what happened. I just hope one day that you guys can forgive me for what I done.
Agu's family also heartbroken as they asked the judge for the maximum penalty.
It's the holidays, Branson, and I don't even have my son here with us because you took his life. You're a menace. And even if you lose your life 20 years, your family still have you. My son is never going to walk back through those doors.
Lock him up and throw away the key so he can't take away another life. Miguel deserves justice. His life should be honored and valued.
The prosecutor called Medeiros violent, citing a recent assault charge where he attacked a corrections officer while at a youth detention home. First Circuit Court Judge Kevin Sousa denied the lesser sentence, citing Medeiros' juvenile record and sentenced him to the maximum 20 years.
8 years is not nearly enough for the reckless taking of another life. And if you mean what you said to his family, then your actions will show that. Your behavior, the way you comport yourself, the way you decide to carry yourself, be a law-abiding citizen, help your family, help your community. That's the way you honor Miguel Lagoa and his memory.
The Hawaii Paroling Authority will decide the amount of prison time Medeiros actually serves, which could be less than 20 years. That hearing has yet to be scheduled. Annalisa Burgos, Hawaii News Now.
Police say the 76-year-old woman who was hit by a car in Aiea late last night has died. Police believe the driver who hit her had been drinking. This is the scene on Moanalua Road near O'ahu Street. Now, just before 9 last night, police say the victim was struck while she was in a marked crosswalk. EMS crews rushed her to the hospital where she later died. The driver, a 52-year-old woman, was not hurt. She stayed at the scene where police say she showed signs of impairment and was taken into custody. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth left this morning for events in California this weekend, but faces intensifying questions in Washington over the Trump administration's strike on alleged drug boats. Natalie Brand reports.
The U.S. military announced a 20-second strike on an alleged drug boat Thursday, killing 4 people the administration identifies as narco-terrorists. It comes as Operation Southern Spear faces increased scrutiny on Capitol Hill, with lawmakers questioning Navy Admiral Frank Bradley Thursday about a second strike on a boat in September that killed 2 survivors of an initial attack. Congressman Jim Himes, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, was among those shown unedited footage of the incident.
What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. You have 2 individuals in clear distress, without any means of locomotion, with a destroyed vessel, who were killed by the United States.
But Republican Tom Cotton, who chairs the Senate Intelligence Committee, called the strikes lawful.
I saw 2 survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs down for the United States, back over, so they could stay in the fight.
Lawmakers from both parties said Admiral Bradley told them Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth did not give the order to, quote, kill them all, as was reported by the Washington Post.
The White House has made clear President Trump remains confident in Secretary Hegseth, even as some Democratic lawmakers call for him to resign, especially in light of a new Pentagon Inspector General report.
The report found Hegseth did not comply with Defense Department policies when he used his personal cell phone and the messaging app Signal to relay sensitive military information about an operation in Yemen in March to other top administration officials. The report also found Hegseth's actions created a risk to operational security that could have resulted in failed U.S. mission objectives and potential harm to U.S. pilots. Hegseth described the report as a total exoneration, saying no classified information was shared. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Hawaii Congressman Ed Case is among 35 House members introducing a plan to prevent insurance costs from going up for millions of Americans that are enrolled in the Affordable Care Act plans. Tax credits for the program are set to expire at the end of the year. Case says the new bipartisan proposal would extend savings on premiums by 2 years, including a year of enhanced premium tax credits. About 25,000 Hawaii residents get their insurance through ACA plans. As SNAP benefits are once again being threatened by the federal government, the Hawaii Food Bank says it's prepared to help those in need. The nonprofit says their food supply levels remain high after ramping up food distributions during the recent government shutdown. The Trump administration is threatening to withhold SNAP benefits from states that don't turn over sensitive data about recipients, including immigration status. The food bank says it's always accepting monetary and food donations, but it's in need of extra needs of volunteers.
Volunteers is huge. I mean, if you can step up and be a volunteer in Maui, in the Big Island, or Kauai, we need your help. And right now is the time to step up and give back.
If you'd like to make a donation to the Hawaii Food Bank this holiday season, go to hawaiifoodbank.org to learn more. A greeting of aloha for World War II veterans Milton Ripple and Bob Hartline yesterday. The two were treated to hula as they arrived on Oahu after flying first class on Hawaiian Airlines from a flight from Seattle. While their arrival was joyful, they're here to honor and remember the men and the women killed during the attack of Pearl Harbor 84 years ago. And several events this weekend will be held to commemorate the attack, including the ceremony to honor the crew members killed on the USS Utah. That'll be on Saturday night, and there'll be a ceremony for the crew of the USS Oklahoma on Sunday afternoon. The USS Arizona crew will be honored during the main remembrance. That'll take place on Sunday at 7:30. All of the ceremonies will be live streamed. You can find details on the events on our website. Look for As Seen on the Sunrise tab. Strange sightings in the sky above Hawaii this week, and now we've got some answers. On the Valley Isle, security cameras in Kihei caught a bright light shooting over homes late Tuesday. It was also seen by telescopes atop Mauna Kea. We've confirmed with Keck Observatory the object was a meteorite, likely no bigger than a basketball, and that was breaking up when it entered the Earth's atmosphere. Hundreds of meteorites enter the Earth's atmosphere every day. And yesterday, this flaming object with a trail of black smoke was seen falling toward the ocean. This is around 11 a.m. on Thursday, right off of Haleiwa. Now, thanks to Banzai Betty DePolito for capturing the photos. The Coast Guard confirms that it was a flare shot during a training exercise by an Air Force crew.
Pretty cool stuff in the sky over the past couple of days. Happy Aloha Friday, everybody. As we're going forward, we're expecting a nice weekend out there. We do have a number of alerts out across the island chain. We've got a coastal flood statement up for all low-lying areas. Also a small craft advisory out there as the trade winds are starting to get a little bit stronger going into the weekend. Still somewhat southeasterly today. This coastal flood statement, due to the higher than average high tides, is going to continue through Saturday morning. Let's run through the tide tables really quickly. You can see over in Honolulu Harbor as we're going into early tomorrow morning around 5 a.m. 2.6 feet above sea level out there, and then just moving down the island chain 3 feet in Kahului Harbor tomorrow. It's pretty large tides out there. Could lead to some minor coastal flooding. Coming up on my full forecast, I'll give you a look at the high surf conditions and tell you what you can expect heading into the weekend.
Thank you very much, Drew. Now to a boost for a neighborhood rebuilding from the Lahaina wildfire. The county is spending $25 million on a new sewer system. And as our Chelsea Davis reports, the federal government just confirmed it's pitching in for the design plans.
In Lahaina's Wahikuli subdivision, sights of Christmas and sounds of construction fill the air.
We're getting there slowly. We're just waiting on material.
Jeremy de los Reyes is making progress rebuilding his home.
We have the master bath.
And he was happy to hear his neighborhood is getting a gravity sewer system.
If they're switching over to sewer, it's definitely a good thing, right? Helps the environment, keeps everything healthy and safe and clean.
The Environmental Protection Agency says it's almost finished designing the system to replace the cesspools or septic systems now used by 231 single-family properties.
FEMA provided a mission assignment and actually funded a contract vehicle to EPA to provide 100% shovel-ready designs to expedite the construction of a sewer in this area and to help relieve residents from having to convert to septic systems, which would be very pricey.
FEMA's pledging about $1.6 million for the project to support the state-mandated removal of all cesspools by 2050. The goal is to eliminate sewage leaks while providing a system more resilient to hazards from wildfires, flooding, and tsunamis. But De Los Reyes says he still has questions.
The easements, right to access, eminent domain possibly if they cannot get the easements or so on and so forth. So there's still a lot of confusion. It is a good thing, I believe, but we got to get some clarification on a lot of these questions first.
Easements would give the county the right to access and use parts of private property for maintenance and repairs. Property owners would not be allowed to build structures that interfere with access.
It will prevent maybe somebody who could build a bigger house for house their family. Now they'd have to downsize to a smaller size house because they cannot go into the easement. They cannot build into that area. So it might put some constraints on some families.
Authorities plan to provide more information about easements as the project progresses. Reporting in Wahikuli, I'm Chelsea Davis for Hawaii News Now.
And coming up, the administering of the hepatitis B shots into infants is back in the news. We'll tell you what's going on with that. Plus, using plastic bags become a thing of the past, perhaps, in the island of Hawaii. We'll tell you why right after the break. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a step closer of his goal to overhaul the nation's vaccine policy. A federal committee voted to change the recommendation for key childhood vaccines. Gwen Baumgartner has a story and the reaction.
What this gets at is the point of informed consent.
The Vaccine Advisory Panel voted to overturn a long-standing recommendation on vaccinating newborns against hepatitis B.
The motion passes.
For decades, the government has advised vaccinating all babies at birth to protect them from liver infection, guidance that research shows has cut the infection rate by 99%. In adults, the virus is spread through sex or through sharing needles, but it can also be passed from an infected mother to a baby. The committee, appointed by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., voted to recommend a dose only for newborns whose mothers test positive. For other babies, the committee suggested beginning the vaccination series at 2 months.
Parents should carefully think about whether they want to take the risk of giving another vaccine to their child.
The vote was 8-3, with several members voicing strong objections.
This has a great potential to cause harm, and I simply hope that the committee will accept its responsibility when this harm is caused.
Doctors have watched the debate closely, many saying the new recommendation could reverse decades of progress in preventing infections that can lead to liver cancer.
It is really just disrupting for disrupting's sake. And this is going to help no one. It's just them checking another box on the anti-vaccine movement's checklist.
Republican Senator Bill Cassidy is a physician who voted to confirm Kennedy to the nation's top health post. He urged the acting CDC director to reject the committee's guidance, posting, quote, "This change to the vaccine schedule is a mistake." The American Academy of Pediatrics agrees, saying the decision is a dangerous move that will harm children. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
In use of the islands, the Hawaii County Council has approved a ban on single-use plastics for food service, even though the mayor is against it. If Bill 83 becomes law, anyone who serves food or drinks to the public must use compostable or reusable containers. Mayor Kimo Alameda has been hearing from mom and pop stores who fear their costs will triple.
I'm a protector of the AINA, but there's a balance in everything, you know, and in this situation, the costs will outweigh the benefits, and I'm really looking out for small businesses. It's an equity issue as well.
Testimony from certain large business owners that were saying it would cause undue economic hardship to small businesses when over 500 small businesses on the Big Island have already voluntarily transitioned to compostables and biodegradables.
The council tells us if the mayor vetoes the bill, it will go back to the council, which would have the votes to override his veto. So either way, the ban is expected to go into effect in 1 year.
And stick around. Coming up after the break, we've got your full first alert weather forecast. We're tracking a few showers going into the weekend, but overall mostly sunny. The details coming up.
with Drew Davis.
All right, well, happy Aloha Friday, everybody. We made it to the weekend. Oh boy, aren't you excited? We've got a nice weekend ahead of us. Let's take a look at our first alert weather headlines and what we have in store. A high surf advisory out on north and west facing shores. Right now, that does not include Hawaii Island. We're also seeing some minor coastal flooding out there because of the higher than average high tides. And we're also tracking trade winds building in over the next couple of days. You can see here's our high surf advisory, again, for the north and west facing shores of Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, and also the north facing shores of Maui out there. Right now, it does not include Hawaii Island or Lanai, and it's going to continue until 6 p.m. on this evening, today, Aloha Friday. Taking a look at our actual numbers, the surf is on the decline as we're going into this afternoon. North-facing shores out there around 10 to 15 feet. West-facing shores right around 8 to 12. South-facing shores still pretty small. East-facing shores are on the rise, getting a little bit choppy as we're going into the rest of this afternoon. You can see the energy from that swell that caused the high surf advisory is going to be on the way out as we're going into Saturday morning. Another swell moving in Monday. We're already seeing the signs of another larger swell moving in the middle of next week. The reasoning behind that, another storm system is going to be developing in the northern Pacific Ocean, potentially bringing some rainfall our way. We're still watching and fine-tuning the details on that. Our coastal flood statement out there, you can see the small craft advisory up across most of the offshore waters, and higher than average high tides are going to continue. We took a look at the tide tables just a little while ago. You can see winds also building back in, getting a little bit more easterly. We're seeing northeasterly winds out of the airport around 15 miles per hour. Southwesterly winds over in Hilo still light and variable in some spots, but let's just play this out throughout the rest of this weekend. Going into Saturday and Saturday afternoon between 10 to 15 miles per hour. This is early Sunday morning, around 5 miles per hour out of the northeast, getting a little bit breezier as we're going into Sunday afternoon as well. We are watching the next chance for rainfall going forward into next week around Wednesday. Models are still diverging, going all over the place when we get into the middle of next week. But we are watching a nicer weekend out there. We're still tracking a few showers over windward Hawaii Island, windward Maui, and the rest of the island chain, seeing a good chance for windward showers out there as well. The heaviest rainfall right now, at least in the European model, is over the windward portions of Maui, windward Hawaii Island, drying out a little bit as we're going into Saturday and Sunday. A really nice weekend is ahead of us across a majority of the state. Going into next week, however, we do have a better chance for showers as another front could be moving in, another disturbance. But like I said, the models are all over the place right now, so confidence is very, very low. Our 7-day forecast, look at this. Nice weather Saturday and Sunday, 15 to 20 mile per hour trade winds, and then another chance for rainfall as we're going into Wednesday and Thursday of this upcoming week.
Thank you very much, Drew. Coming up, what is Santa doing in the hottest spot north of Havana? We'll tell you why the bearded one is in the Copacabana when This Is Now returns. Well, Drew, did you know that Pantone has named its annual color of the year?
I saw that on social media.
Didn't you,
Let's
right?
take a look at it. And if it's any indication about the year to come, it might not be the most exciting year. Pantone has named Cloud Dancer its 2026 color of the year. Described as a soft, balanced white, the Institute says it reflects serenity and a desire for a fresh start. Last year's pick was Mocha Mousse.
I like that.
And in 2024, it was Peach Fuzz. I feel like I like it because it's cloud related.
There you go. That matches you. I agree.
All right, and this is fun. We'll leave you with something more exciting on this Aloha Friday.
Now, Santa traded in his sleigh for something with a kick. Now, take a look at this. You'll enjoy this one right here. Santa arrived via jet ski at Rio de Janeiro's Copacabana Beach as part of a project to give keiki with a range of conditions a joyful day. Now, dozens of keiki with disabilities came together for this celebration. It was organized by the city's firefighters and local nonprofits, where they received gifts and festive cheer from Santa.
I like to imagine that Santa has a bunch of different vehicles, not just the sleigh, the jet ski. What else? A motorcycle?
A surfboard.
Yeah.
How about you?